Don't go anywhere, as I have an urgent message for Christians and freedom-loving patriots around the world. Christians have been losing their country to what seems to be an unknown force. Most Christians believe they just need to go vote, and they can't figure out why they cannot get their officials elected, or why, once they're there, odd things keep happening that are against the founding Christian values of their countries. And the Bible calls this a strong delusion. Jesus even said that his people perish for lack of knowledge, that Satan would deceive the world in the last days, and if possible, even the elect, which means God's children. I assure you, about 90% of Christians right now are under a strong delusion. And yes, this could possibly even be you if you have been pulled into this belief system that you are to become Judas. And if you are not Judas, then somehow God is going to punish you, or your country is not going to be blessed. I ask you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, look at the world and look at your Christian country. And in the past 70 years, since Christians have been talked into blessing a certain nation, is the nation becoming more Christian, more blessed, more financially stable, or is it becoming more chaotic and more satanic? That is a question to become clear in your mind and begin thinking what and who is causing issues in your Christian country, and why a law would be passed that would begin to outlaw what you can talk about from the New Testament of the Bible. Ask yourself if you have been talked into becoming Judas and supporting your own demise. This is a very clear question to ask yourself. I was fooled for a very long time. I am not fooled any longer. We're losing our Christian nations to these ideologies that are foreign to our founding principles. Unheard of laws are giving groups who oppose the Christian way of life protected status above criticism and above Christian viewpoints. And they're silencing us from our freedom of speech, even our constitutional freedoms of speech, which go beyond what someone's religious viewpoints are. And they have circumnavigated this, even getting Congress to pass a law to do so, which is an unfounded law because no law can supersede the Constitution. But don't be dismayed. Don't be fooled. These alphabet agencies, they will come and get pastors despite the Constitution. The very country your forefathers built has been hijacked by someone who has infiltrated the ranks of government, media, and lobbying forces. They are alien to our way of life, and they oppose everything we stand for. I assure you, they oppose everything you stand for. Their objective is to eradicate the Christian faith and the Christian family. There is no area that they have not infiltrated. That includes the Christian church. So they have done this in such a cunning way that you do not even realize it has happened. And yes, people ask, do you have evidence? The evidence now is beyond overwhelming. It is not even a shadow of doubt who is behind orchestrating the fall of your country, and it is not China. China is the distraction. Of course, China would infiltrate and take over America if it could, but China is not running our government. Someone who is controlling China financially is allowing China to buy up things. But it is not China. It's the people behind China. China is communist like Bolshevik Russia, and it was run by certain people. Right now, people are trafficking millions of children, and it has become the number one thing, the number one criminal activity for profit in America. Do you know what the number one search that Christians do on the internet for things to look for? Pop rock Christian worship. That is their main area of concern. That has been orchestrated and implanted by a false narrative from the same group. They've got you distracted into doing nothing and being self-indulgent into this type of addictive music, the energy, the feeling, and all this, while doing nothing about the real crimes. I believe Jesus would go into the churches with a whip and cleanse the churches just for this matter alone. Think about what's happening at your church and the level of concern for these items that Jesus would have been seriously concerned about in your community. Most Christians know there's something wrong, but they don't know how to do anything about it. So the agencies that were designed to protect us have now been infiltrated and overtaken, and they are actually working for this Bolshevik ideology now. They have infiltrated and filled the ranks of these agencies to not care about the Constitution, but to carry out the will of this alien force, this alien invasion to our Christian country. So from your places of work to where your children go to school, this alien indoctrination has been placed so that you have to be continuously bombarded by it, that you have no freedom anywhere you travel but to be subjugated to immoral, anti-Christian movements. This has been done to cause a form of depression, a form of psychological warfare on you. This is America, and it's time you got fired up about your country or your Christian country somewhere else. It's time you got fired up because your churches obviously are not going to do anything about it. In fact, because they are Judas, because they are defying the New Testament and Jesus's words in the Bible, because they are doing that, they will never solve the problem because they are for against Christ. They are serving the enemy and supporting what is causing your demise and funding all the anti-Christian laws, all the immorality, all the groups, the liberalistic groups that are fighting against Christianity. All the funds are being transported and transferred into these groups from this alien force. This is a fact. You can track the money. You can search it out. But Christians don't do it because they don't think to do it. The church is telling them there's nothing to see here. It has nothing to do with this alien force in your country. So the hour is too late to remain comfortably on the sidelines, having faith without any works to accomplish or get anything done. And then go onto these social media groups or places or Christian. I am a member of probably 70 different Christian groups on social media, on Facebook. They are pointless, like a fifth grader posting information and things that will accomplish nothing, spiritually empty echo chambers. They are weak. And this, my friend, is the nature and the atmosphere that has been created in the Christian community right now. So this message is not for those Christians who feel something must be done, who are like Peter, where Jesus said, "Upon this rock I will build my church." If you are like Peter and feel you are a rock that wants to do something, then this message is for you. But if you can't wait to go back scrolling for some more pop Christian rock worship music so that you can feel good without doing good, then this message is not for you. You can go on back to that. Jesus created an inner circle of men and women who would go out and do his will. And this is what needs to happen now. It's not for everyone. It's for an inner circle of people who really want to learn, who want to create an atmosphere, who want to teach and want to get and recruit other Christians to wake up from this great delusion that is going on. So what we have is something called the Master's Inner Circle. And it is mental self-defense against what is happening to us. And what we're doing is cutting through the propaganda, and we're revealing who is working to destroy your country. Some of you know, but most of you do not know. And provide you with lessons and business and personal information and elevate your prosperity so that you have the financial means and the intellectual means to know who you're fighting against and the ability to share and get this information out there. So the purpose is to expose the enemy who's fighting to destroy you before enough laws are passed where you are completely silenced, because what you are dealing with is the world's greatest cunning victim narcissist movement that has had thousands of years to develop itself. You must be willing to work and carry the Holy Spirit within you to do as the disciples did and get your country back. So I'm going to urgently call you, those of you who can actually hear this message, who've sat through long enough without the urge to go and scroll for some pop music on YouTube, listen to them Christian, soft, whispery pop music. And those of you who actually want to get in the fight, who want to educate yourself, who want to do like Jesus said, prosper as your soul prospers. For those of you who want to get in the game, then I'm going to leave a link in the description box and in the comments, and you can check out the Master's Inner Circle. Those of us who are in it are educating ourselves. We are becoming quite aware that we need to place Christians in political positions, not pretend Christians. We need to eradicate ourselves of control of our positions of government, our education system, our financial systems, of those who are against Christ. You literally have a majority of people in Washington, D.C. and running these groups and these things who are not just atheist or who are not just indifferent. They are literally against Christ. And it has been this way for a long time. You need to become aware that these churches are Judas now. They have taken 3, 4, 5,000-year-old scriptures. They have flipped these scriptures to mean to bypass the fact that they were about a nation and a country that disappeared a couple thousand years ago, and they are making all of that and superseding and jumping it to the present time so that they can get control of your thoughts, and you do nothing about what is attacking your country. It is a fact. I assure you with beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is a fact that you have against Christ people working in every facet of your governmental systems now who are against Christ. And it's time for Christians to get together and make a difference, because you are the majority. You are not the minority. If you continue to do nothing, if you continue to think that going to your church, some building, that the building and raising money for salaries and cupcake sales and little things that only deal with this enclosed system of your church and this building, you're going to lose your country. And in one day, you're going to go to your church and there will be guards standing out front, and you're not going to be allowed to go to church anymore, because your enemy spends its time not watching sports on Sunday afternoon or during the week. They spend their time plotting how to get senators and congressmen and business people. They plot how to make money. They plot how to take over your country, how to buy up the land, how to get control of the school systems, while you plan and argue about things such as what Abraham's wife's sister's shoes were and what color they were. And that's a big argument, or some theological thing from 5,000 years ago, thinking that you're doing some great work in Christianity, when right now your enemy is taking over your country, passing laws, and they are going to ban Christianity under the subjugation of punishment, jail time, or death, because you spent your time doing nothing. So if you're not a normie, if you're not weak, if you're not a Sunday happy clappy Christian, and you feel called or led to educate yourself about what's going on, to gain business knowledge, to gain spiritual knowledge, to prosper as your soul prospers, all the education stuff that should be being taught in church or taught in school, then join the Master's Inner Circle and begin learning these things, and join us and become a significant obstacle for the enemy. In fact, let's take ground today. There will be a link in the description. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. This is what we are about as Christians, and we feel we are doing the work of Christ by encouraging you and strengthening you and being a leader and teaching you to lead others, because we need leaders. The pastors aren't going to do it. They are under the control of their national system, or whoever is pulling their strings, which is the enemy, pulling their strings and limiting what they can talk about, limiting what your church can do, what they can say, what they're about, what they can get involved in. Just look at what happened under the recent medical tyranny, when they shut the doors. And why? All for nothing. They bowed down to the enemy. Join us, guys. We'll see you soon. Dan Collier for the Christian Life Network and the Sons of Light.